Hello and welcome to Xena, Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera and I'm joined as always by my two kooky co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Livy.
Hello.
We back.
Yay!
We back after our break. November.
Definitely a break.
What is it? November. Remember the 5th of November.
You forget
I was really into that movie as well.
Yeah, you
the
were.
The Natalie Portman one. I was
you
like
liked when she
obsessed with
shaved
it.
her head.
Oh my god, I was like obsessed with that moment.
They shaved her head.
Yeah, but then it ended up being kind of disappointing, the whole movie. So
I mean,
I've only seen it once.
That is what that movie is like. But I think it's a very, like, people often refer back to that movie. I think over time, and especially with like the way our political reality has shaped up, that movie is better.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should revisit it. Well, we are back. As you mentioned before we hit record, Liv, we are home.
Yes, we have come there.
Yes.
Home to Xena.
Yes.
Our true home.
And did you guys know that we're starting season 6?
Oh my god.
What?
Did you guys know this?
It is really weird.
Yeah.
Like, everything about this is weird.
I know. I have a brand new notebook for season 6.
Pretty.
And it's crazy that that's happening. So, are you guys ready to talk about this episode?
I think so.
This is the very last time we'll start a new season.
Yeah,
I was going to say, this is the very last time we're going to talk about this episode. Yeah, it is.
Probably.
Yes.
We might mention it again.
It's weird. Just everything about it is weird. Just
What?
going to the last thing, like the last season.
On Hulu.
Just, it's insane.
22 episodes left.
Yeah. Oh, no. We're going to be saying that every time. We're going to be like 21 left.
Oh,
20 left.
Oh, no. Stressful.
Yeah.
Do you have more, like, because it's, like, more recent, a recollection of waiting the summer to watch Xena or anything?
For this?
Yeah.
Not as much as my burnt-in memories of waiting through a summer were for the X-Files.
Okay.
But,
yeah, those were good
but
cliffhangers.
surely this was also a summer that I waited for.
I was just curious if, like, you remembered, like, starting season 6 with expectations.
This was a longer wait because the Sydney Olympics were going on. So
Oh, shit.
I think it didn't actually come on until maybe like late September, October.
Okay, and see, I was like really into those Olympics.
Yeah.
So
You were busy.
It's
Yeah.
the year
I love me.
2000.
I know.
Yeah,
The year
2000.
2000.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, reading about the production of this episode, there was a lot of confusion because they weren't sure how they were going to start the season because at one point they thought they were going to be opposite the Olympics.
Oh no!
So they were like,
so they were gonna have a Special Olympics episode.
well, they were thinking more that like they didn't want to like blow their load on a giant expensive episode if it was going to air opposite the
Wow.
Olympics.
Not be seen.
Honestly-
I would have liked to see what they would do to be like, we're doing our own like Athenian
This
Olympics
is exactly
special.
It could have
it.
been really cool, yeah, to
Yeah.
incorporate the Olympics
And as
fever.
I recall, literally, Greece wanted the 2000 Olympics because it was a super anniversary, and they
Yeah.
were pissed because it got put to 2004.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
I think you're right. So that would then they would have been.
I was so
forced
invested.
to.
Oh my god, I was so invested in that special, like, perfect date for them. I was like, oh, Sydney, just swap.
Just swap.
But yeah, eventually they decided to actually just push back the whole show because of the Olympics. And then this episode, which I think was originally conceived to be a much more like little intimate episode,
Yeah.
sort of got a little bit beefed up. Though I think
And
it's
filmed way later.
Yeah, filmed way later. Like they've already filmed the Norse trilogy
Yeah.
at
Whoa.
this point. And
Yeah.
I think maybe 4 or 5 other episodes.
Yeah.
This is like the 8th episode.
So are
they
you
shot.
saying that, like, Gabrielle's hair continuity is going to be odd?
Maybe.
It might
I
be.
feel like it was already a slightly odd in the
Long.
episode.
Yeah, a bit shaggy.
Longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is like technically ultimate for me, like the peak Gabrielle hair, but mainly because we have like a glorious photo that
Sorry.
Renée signed
I
of
think
season
you meant
6.
to say season 4.
That could be you.
Long hair.
For me,
Side braids.
it's the short hair look, and like out of the 3 short hair looks, sorry
Season
to say,
4, season 5, season 6.
yeah,
Yeah.
there has to be a peak short
Yeah,
hair look,
6.
and it is certainly not season 4.
No, that's season 6.
Yes,
for sure.
thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm just teasing you.
Whatever, you can have your opinions, I can have mine. I'm not going to
That's
talk about, I'm
true.
not going to stop talking about how when you look at early Gabrielle at this point, you're like, what the hell is that? Because this is Gabrielle.
You mean like
I would
tiny
never
baby?
say
Yeah.
what the hell is that.
Well, because it's so weird. It was weird seeing even like Hope, you know, like in the last season.
I know she was just
It
very
was weird to
small.
see Hope.
Her
But you mean
outfit,
just
season
that
one?
outfit?
Yeah, because you're so not used to that anymore.
It's a simpler time.
yeah, super time.
Long sleeves.
Yeah, but before we get away from it too far, I did want to sort of jump back and say that I now desperately want a Olympics themed episode
Yeah.
for Xena.
Yeah, I think Hercules may have done something.
Who cares about Hercules?
Boo, boo.
Jeez, why must it always be like that?
But yeah, that's definitely on the wish list.
Yes. Ugh. All right, let's talk about this.
Yeah, set it up.
601 Coming Home, written by a new writer, Melissa Good, and directed by our new fave, Mark Beasley.
Not the bees,
The bees!
the bees.
Oh, not the bees.
But we love the bees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Buzz, buzz.
I mean, okay, reference from
The
Wicker Man.
The
Wicker
new
Man.
one.
Yes, yes, yes.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
A lot.
A lot.
I want to start with the title of the episode.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? I really, yesterday, like, it hit me. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I was reading about Melissa Good's explanation for it.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
let's
an
wait.
after the fact
before,
kind of explanation.
Before we get
Yes.
to the actual answer,
Oh,
what is,
okay.
well, not you, but you, Liv.
What does it mean
What,
to
what do you
us?
think it means?
I think it's a reference to season 5 being bad. And,
Whoa.
and now we're coming home.
You read
Okay.
the answer.
Oh, is that what Melissa Good said? No, I did not. I was not
Yeah.
quoting her.
Okay, well-
That's how I feel.
It has nothing to do with the episode. I don't understand it in relation to the episode.
The only
itself.
thing I can think
Yeah.
of when you just look at the episode and that title is the fact that they go back to the Amazon land.
Yeah,
so
that's,
for
For
Gabs,
Gabs,
is it a
it's like a
homecoming?
home because it's just Amazon stuff.
but that doesn't really.
She didn't. Nobody was like, "You're back, Queen," or
No,
whatever.
they seem very
No, they were
confused.
just like, "Oh, hey guys," but I'm not as confused as I wanted them to be because I wanted them to be like, "Oh, you guys were dead, and
Yeah.
now you're
Why
back."
are you so young?
Yeah.
Etc. No, she said something like it is about them going back to Greece, but they don't really go there yet.
Were they in Greece? I don't know where the fuck they were.
And then I'm
yeah, I have no
confused
idea.
because
Well,
of
Amazon
how-
Forest, so I guess I could have been in Greece.
also
I don't know.
this wasn't gonna be the first episodes.
Right.
Yeah, and then I believe.
Oh, so then they would have come home from like North Africa.
Yeah, and that was
or-
written first.
Okay.
I see.
Legacy, her
Yeah.
other episode. We should get into
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
who is Melissa Good?
Well, we've mentioned Melissa Good a little bit.
Yes.
on
What if
the
you're just
podcast.
tuning in today? We need a rundown, like how the actual episode did, like a rundown. If you've never seen a Xena episode before, they filled you right in on what's going on, so you can start talking about it. What if this is your first Xena Warrior
Previously
podcast
on
episode?
Xena Warrior podcast.
We mentioned Melissa Good.
Yeah, she is a BNF.
Yeah.
She is a fanfic writer, and Katie has read some of her fic.
I have. BNF stands for Big Name Fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sort of out of the like real workings of fandom lately. Do people still use that term?
I think it's a bit outdated.
It's outdated.
What's the
I
new
don't,
term?
I don't think there is one. I think we live in a world
It's
in
so
which
splintered and
Yeah.
weird fandom these
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, but I get that.
I don't know if you could have someone on the level of
Yeah.
a Missy Good.
But basically, she wrote
No.
a lot of very, very, very popular Xena fan fiction, all different kinds, like alt fic, alternative, which was like Xena and Gabrielle in real relationship, and then the Ubers, which is the Xena Scrolls episode where there are other characters that are like Xena and Gabrielle-esque, but they don't go by their names. They're set in
Modern day.
They're like
Florida.
yeah, they're basically
They
they modern
live in Florida.
AUs, which is
Yeah.
what we would say
Yeah.
now.
Right.
And
those were immensely popular. In the
immensely
fandom,
popular. I think probably, if not the most popular fanfic author. I feel like there were probably a few others as well, but the fact that she's writing for the show and people often wrecked these fics to us speaks very highly of the
too.
popularity.
She is a giant.
Yeah. So, but to the point where I had her own following and her fans had their own nickname,
The Merpups.
Merpups, and then they would have their own gatherings at cons and stuff.
Their own mailing list.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. And
Yeah.
she got to write this episode, which I believe came to be via Steve Sears, who had left the show at this point.
Bye, Steve.
Steve.
Miss you.
But he missed Xena so much he was reading fan fiction.
I know, which
seems
is
to be the case.
That seems to be the case. It sounds like from the chronology that he had met Melissa Good at cons, like previously when he was still working for the show.
Yeah.
And when he left the show, he took that opportunity to read her work.
Right.
Which is not just like an amazing, funny thing for a Xena writer to do, but just a nice friendship thing.
Yeah.
That when he could read her, he took the opportunity.
Yeah, because the implication being like, technically and hopefully writers of the show weren't reading fic and getting ideas.
It is frowned upon for legal reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know if a fan would ever actually have grounds to sue.
I don't
but
think he would.
It's a murky area.
Yes. Anyway, he then separately got a phone call from Rob Tappert with an idea, or he had. I don't know exactly who Rob was talking to, but it seemed
Rob's
like
original idea.
Yeah.
That he wanted a fan to collaborate on a Xena episode in season 6, which I think is, considering the fandom response to season 5, I think that's a really nice olive branch from Rob. That he's like, how can I be more open to what the fans are thinking? Like, he literally went, all the way
to the
down.
source.
Yeah. How do I do it? Let's get a fan.
Yeah.
Let's talk to a fan. So he talked to Steve about it, and Steve had a recommendation, which was Melissa Good.
Yeah. And I feel like that machinations or inner workings of fandom, there was probably all sorts of talking and issues and stuff. I wasn't there. I didn't dig into it. But I feel like it seemed like it came about organically via her having this relationship with Steve and Steve reading her writing and thinking it was good and passing her name along. It wasn't like they went to the fandom and went, here is the biggest, most popular fan, and like brought her in or anything like that.
You get a prize.
However,
you write for Xena now.
Anyway, so
but
I don't know.
It is fascinating. I mean, from being in fandoms, BNFs, at least when they still existed, they probably still exist, but it's just a different
form
vibe. Yeah. But like back in the day, BNFs were, complicated figures because, people loved them, people hated them. Like they kind of had a smaller scale version of what the showrunners and the actors have, which is this sort of intense attention that could flip-flop between worship and like outrage.
Right.
So yeah, my sense is that Melissa Good did encounter some of that when she got this job because people, in the fandom saw that as, wait, you're one of us. You're not allowed to like cross over to the other side. That's not fair.
That's a murky and interesting area that I feel like we could talk about for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, any fandom person who kind of becomes a pro, there's often a lot of backlash, and it's a fraught situation.
Yeah. But I do like how you phrased it as like this olive branch based on kind of fucking up season 5. So that's fun.
I think so.
I think my just overall broad statement is I don't think fans should be involved in the writing of the television program. That has nothing to do with my opinion of her episodes at all. I actually enjoy this episode.
So why do you think that?
I think that in terms of nowadays, the way fandom and the way social media and stuff is run, it's a very complicated place. And I think that it should be listened to in some cases, but I don't think people should have like a say in the like actual narrative or anything, which doesn't seem like was the case here at all.
Also, sorry to interrupt, but also there's a huge difference in the way television is now, just in general. Like there's smaller linear stories versus 22 episode standalones where
you don't commission a freelance writer like
to just come in the middle of, and also you don't need their ideas. Like for instance, all the Star Trek TNG had like was famous for literally getting like their fans to come up with episodes and like write the episodes.
And didn't Jane Espenson
also
a lot of popular people came in that way.
Guy science consultant for BSG, man.
Kevin
Grazer? Yeah, he also had an episode.
That's really cool. So, I mean, it is great to democratize.
Before he became, like, super famous.
That's crazy, because he's, like, legit.
He just came in regular to write.
Did he really? I don't know. I don't know the history around that far back.
I
know he was, like, from TNG, but I thought he was like an actual. I know he was in the
writing
Navy,
like normal,
and then somehow he was writing TV.
not writing his fan spec.
Didn't we?
No,
we already
okay.
talked about how Liz Friedman came in this way with a spec script to something.
Right.
This
we
is,
did
you
mention.
know,
It's murky.
But
It's
like
a
the
murky
point,
area.
the point being that you can't right now sit in your couch and then tweet in like your idea for whatever
Yeah, that's what
episode
I'm
of
kinda
a
talking
serialized
about.
television program.
Or like just this sort of demand of being like, we want this, give us this only, and then like that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe you
I
can
don't
do
like
it for
that.
like CSI or whatever, whichever version of those CBS shows exist.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
I do think it's interesting to like democratize the process to, you know, allow people to kind of come in. Like, but yeah, it's a really hard thing to like. How open do you want to be? Is I
think it
a
should
really
be
important
like
question.
I think writers need to listen to fandom when it comes to like more cultural issues than just like
do this on my show.
my characters put these ships together, make them kiss.
To be fair, I think that was sort of what Rob wanted from a fan, is someone to say like, you know, how much subtext is good? Like, what is the show missing? You
I'm
know,
pretty sure
what do
this
you need
episode
to
had like
see?
no
That's better
subtext
than-
and it had the opposite.
It had a little bit, but yeah, surprising how little it had, considering we have Missy Good in there.
Yeah. It was like needed to. Yeah, it was just like very not that.
Anyway.
So
Yeah.
what's interesting is that she did a good job.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
I can also vouch for having read some, is a very good writer.
Yeah, I mean that was like our number one when we were watching it with you, when I was watching it with you guys, and you guys started saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, season 6, the one that has like the fanfic writer as like the writer." I was like, "Oh no, season 6 sounds kind of like because like you don't just do that. Like, what is that going to be like?" And then both of her episodes, especially the other one, I loved Legacy. So like. It was just very surprising.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
Seeing
it's
that the show
interesting.
just kind of, leans into being very fan fiction-y anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in general.
Right, yeah.
I was going to basically say that. I think, you know, fanfic writers are great at writing character stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because that's all everybody wants in their fic, or maybe
Yeah.
that's just me. But, so yeah, I think it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense that you bring in a fanfic writer. And, you know, she has a great grip on the characters and she finds,
Yes.
you know, moments
Yeah.
for them.
But yeah, you can like literally say that like let's say her episodes are better than like Terrence Winter's.
Yeah.
All
like,
right.
You know,
Yeah,
like, that's
woo!
legit. Like
Yeah, that is legit.
that's crazy.
I mean, we've talked about some of the freelance people who've come in. Some of them are good. Some of them you feel like they
but
literally
some of them
watched
are-
the pilot, and that's
But there's a
it.
difference between writing your fan fiction and writing an episode of television. And like I assume those freelance writers that we previously talked about are like actual like television writers
who are used
just
to
are not
kind of
staffed.
plugging into
They know
a
how
show.
to do shit. What was that noise?
That was your notebook.
This was this?
Well,
Don't do that. Well,
You're gonna
it's
have to-
just,
you're gonna have
it's
to
just
work
the
on that.
first.
yeah.
Okay.
I think you should leave that in. It's Vera's crisp new notebook.
Cut it. Boring.
Boring? Dang,
People
that's
love
harsh.
it. People will love it.
Okay. All right, guys. So you want to legit talk about this episode now?
Yes.
Cool. So this episode begins with some like dude warriors. They got Medusa shields, which confused me a lot.
I thought that was the symbol for Athena's
yeah,
army.
Team Athena. Like, what is this?
So
But they're
maybe
wearing
Ares
black.
has just inherited Athena's
Oh, he
old
just like
army?
took So they
Yeah.
just like were just like the show reuses old armor.
He
Ares
reuses
was reusing
old
armor.
armies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these guys are being stalked by some Amazons. They're little sneaky bitches in the trees.
Hiding in the trees.
Yeah, so we got some new faces that we're gonna meet. Yeah, I don't know when we want to introduce them, but
Yeah, let's introduce them now.
sure. Even though they weren't introduced in the episode yet, but all right,
It's fine.
Cool. So
They're
we-
there. We get a lot of shots of Varia.
Yeah, yes.
She's like sneaking all around.
I think she's like main new one, right?
And Marga, who's
Yeah,
actually
Marga.
her boss.
Right. Marga is wearing like a Northern Amazon hat, and she's Queen Marga. And then Varia is the spunky younger one with a lot of like red. Well, I was gonna say red face paint, but it's like blood, right? I'm assuming, or is it?
I think it's just paint.
You think she just put paint on, or whatever?
She
Anyway,
seems kind of hardcore.
she's
it
very
might be blood.
hardcore.
It doesn't look like it.
And she got that little braid.
What? Okay, who is this actress's name? Do you remember her name?
She's
anyway,
named Tsianina Joelson.
Excuse me, it's
Whatever.
pronounced Tsianina.
Is it really?
That's like literally one of
Tsianina?
her IMDb factoids. It's
Oh.
pronounced Tsianina.
That's cool.
Tsianina Joelson. You guys might know her as Bring it on. The one who knows the SAT words.
Yes.
Darcy.
I love Bring It On. I just love that movie.
Yes.
And I wanted that to not go unsaid.
No, it's an important factoid that I personally was like, oh my God, because I loved her in Bring It On, and I was like, always like, oh my God, why is the Spirit Fingers guy like always saying she's fat? Like, she's literally like, and then it turns out she's literally like a physical fitness person.
As we could see on the show.
But anyway, like.
Spirit Fingers man is problematic.
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
But yeah, so it was really great. Like, that was one of the things when I tuned into Xena. I was like, oh my God, she's from Bring It On.
So the story with Tsianina on Xena is that... Tsianina on Xena is that she had tried out for some other part and didn't get it, but they really liked her, and they wrote Varia for her.
Nice.
Because they really just love, they love that she's good at acting and is this ripped physical presence. So they wanted to create a badass Amazon for her to play.
Yeah. I wonder what else she tried out for, like what the original role was.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Oh, and then the factoid about Queen Marga actress is that she was in The Gauntlet with Lucy.
Oh, wow.
She like took care of the baby that
wow.
Xena saved.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. That's blast from the past. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so Xena, Gabs, and Eve they're going to meet up with Ares, and he sent them a message, and they're like, well, we owe him, so might as well. And this is the scene where they're doing like a huge recap of season 5, and like what you need to know if you're just tuning in today.
There might be people who that's true of. Yeah, Gabs is the one who gets to recap the part about how Ares has a thing for Xena. I'm sure Gabs was like, I must tell the world about that. Let us not forget.
So they're walking, and there's all this like burnt like trees and just messed up like forestry. And Eve's like, weren't these Amazon lands? And she's looking a little shifty. And they're like, yep, why are you asking? And she's all like, oh, just no reason. Absolutely no reason at all.
It looks like it's all still on fire, though. I don't...
Yeah.
Like, okay. When did she do this?
She didn't do it.
No, she didn't
but
do
like
that.
She's just nervous because she's like in Amazon land.
I was just like the implication was that like she did it. And I was like, ooh, it's still on fire. I don't think it would have lasted this long.
Yeah. So they hear a dude scream and they run up to see what's up, and they just like come in the middle of like a big old Amazon versus dude soldiers fight.
This is a pretty cool fight.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the bees.
Yeah, bees is like on fire with the slo-mo and it's really amazing at the end. But like the fights itself, like there are a couple that had really great just coverage of our heroes. Like everybody had their own like one shot that was specific. So I think this is where we first kind of see Varia do her physical stuff.
And she's good. Those kicks.
She's doing all sorts of stuff.
Very powerful legs.
Yeah.
You saw those
and
thighs.
abs. Hello.
Yeah. We get a really big war cry from Xena. She's like flips into the scene, war crying it up. I feel like we didn't get that much war cry in season 5. This just felt immediately like old school.
I think probably Lucy was tired of being forced to do it at cons.
I think so. Yeah. So maybe they took a break from it, and now it's back with a vengeance.
Yeah. But this is one of 2 times she does the war cry to interrupt something, like a scuffle or something that's going on.
Everyone pay attention to me.
Yeah.
The most interesting part about this fight, I thought, was that Eve gets in on the action.
Right. After, kind of watching it, she's like, fuck it, I'm going in. And she holds her own. She
doesn't have a weapon.
She does not have a weapon. But it seemed like at points I was like, is she just like breaking dudes' necks? Like,
but shit.
She wasn't.
No.
She wasn't. But it just looked like that what was going on.
She's just sort of like flipping them over.
Yeah, she's flipping them over. Yeah.
That would be strange.
But yeah, she has this costume that's so like skimpy. It literally looks like she's wearing negligee and like half of a cover up at the beach. Like it's like
a blanket.
Yeah, tucked into her belt. It's a slightly odd look, but it definitely doesn't look like something you should wear in battle, and it's very noticeable. I mean, I think that works for the character.
I mean,
she has not suited up for
battle. But you're dealing with Amazons who have like no shirts.
But they sort of look like warriors
because they have the body of Tsianina Joelson.
Yes.
Gabs does the really cool sides twirl.
Yeah,
they were good.
She just looks happy
to be back doing that.
She just looks happy, twirling. It's good.
Well, they kick the dudes' asses, and the army guys retreat.
Emphasis on kick. Lots of kicking.
Lots of kicking.
In slow-mo. And then there's a part where, like, Xena, like, kind of spins around in slow-mo. And her hair, like, spins around her
Oh, my God, yeah. I was like, oh, these are really good shots for Vince.
I just pictured her hair, like, disembodied, spinning around
I'm spinning, too!
It was weird.
I really liked Varia's big, like, cheer cry. Because not to be confused with cheer, like, cheer tater. No, not from Bring It On. No, like, I don't know, it was like intense because
it was intense.
It was like, I don't know how to describe it well.
She's like kind of like she like spreads her arms almost like Jesus-y and like kind of like
it's like a
roars
ferocious
at the sky.
Yeah,
her style reminds me a lot of like Xena. Like, you know, we always used to talk about Xena grinning in a battle. Like Varia, you can totally tell is the kind of character who just enjoys it, just loves it.
Yes. And then that's when we're actually introduced to Margaret the Queen, and then we find out that Varia is her second in command.
Which is kind of surprising, considering how much coverage Varia got in this battle. You're like, oh, you're not the queen. Okay.
Well, they're setting her up for
later drama.
Marga has heard that Xena has the power to kill the gods, and she has another one for her to kill.
Dun, dun, dun. Who is it?
Ares, god of war. What?
We get a good push in on Xena reacting to this, and her eyes look very blue.
Oh, yeah, man. Her eyes, especially at the end of this episode, are insanely blue.
She looks great. This is just a great time.
Sidebar season 6, Xena. Holy shit.
Everyone looks amazing.
I mean, we're kind of jumping the gun on it, but like season 6 is the best, obviously, for like
they always look great. They always look great.
Everything
looks.
And there's so much blood already gonna happen immediately.
Bloody season.
Extra good. Everything's amazing. Do we need coins for ourselves?
Maybe.
No. Okay. Let's not put it in.
I don't know.
I'm owning it. I fucking love it.
Everyone looks like they have grown up in this season. And you can tell.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like little baby Gabs, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're a little tiny person.
I know.
Lucy Lawson in the first season, she's got little baby cheeks.
I know.
And then you turn on season 6 and you're like, ah! Everybody looks awesome.
Okay. And then like they're filming them extraordinarily well, and everything is just the best. Okay, so one other new thing that happens in season 6 is we get the new credits.
Oh yes, we do.
So weird.
Why? Because other shows had been doing it, and they were like, "We should do it." Is there?
Yeah,
I did not.
And they
come
chose the
the
last season to. Well, they didn't know before.
Explanation.
I guess, right?
Yeah, they did know at this point.
They did know.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Great, last season new credits."
I think they meant to do it before, but just like didn't get to it. I think a lot of it has to do with just giving Renée her due. I think that was a big part of it.
Putting her in more clips.
Yeah, she's not in the
really because
all
I remember from the new credits is a giant beast monster flying across the sky, and
really
no other
takes
thing.
Up time.
It's so true, Katie. Because honestly, like watching it, I was like, oh, the fucking season 6 credits with that fucking like Buffy monster.
Yeah,
and then
it's like the first thing you see.
Yes,
and what?
And like after that though, they're fine.
Yeah,
they're totally normal. But like that thing was the worst choice they could have made.
They were really proud of that monster.
I mean, it's a lot of fun, but yeah.
But it's
anyway.
So specific.
So I wish that they had either been doing it already, or just been like, fuck it, it's last season, we don't need to change them.
I don't think they need to change them.
It seems like an odd choice.
Yeah, it's an odd choice.
Especially because it's, you know, this is a moment to be nostalgic, not to suddenly be like, we've erased our past.
Yeah.
I appreciate that it was for extra Renée clips, if that is indeed.
There's a lot of her in it. It is very noticeable. And they actually do have like her and Xena hugging in it, which I mean, consider like how freaked out the network was for the original ones about like
Draco.
Right. Draco from the back looks like a girl. You can't put that clip in. Like,
okay, great. I like them now.
Yeah, I think they were willing to more like embrace the show.
This leads into how we should start off season 6 by saying they did indeed, for the most part, know that it was the last season. So mostly everything that they're doing is being done with that in mind, right?
Yes, I think so.
So, like, just to say, like, they're going to put them hugging in it, and season 1, they couldn't, whatever. It just leans into in season 6, they don't give a fuck. fuck. We like to refer to it as the season of no fucks given.
Yeah.
And we will discuss that as we go along.
Yeah. So Xena and Gabs are confused as to why Ares would attack the Amazons, but also send for Xena.
It is pretty stupid
Yeah.
as a move.
So they decide to split up, and Xena's going to go check out Ares' army, and Gabs is going to go talk to Queen Margaret to find out what's going on.
So now we see Ares.
Yep.
We see his camp, and what's going on?
What's going on?
Tent.
Yeah, well, the
What
soldiers are
what?
reporting their epic fail on how they just got their butts kicked by these women. And the soldier dude is that dude who plays Barca on Spartacus,
Oh.
a.k.a. Cal?
Cal
God
from Chakram.
Yeah.
I knew he looked familiar.
Yeah.
So that's funny that he went from playing Ares' rival to playing
I know.
Ares' underling.
Oh, no. Yeah, and he's like, well, God of War, why don't you just use your powers and, like, blast the Amazons? Number one, he's never done that ever before.
I know. That
So
was
that's,
slightly
like, a
odd.
weird
But then
choice.
again, I was like, smart thing to ask about, guy, because yeah, you have a god giving you orders. He should be pulling his weight. Why does no one ever ask Ares to do shit for them?
I know. And then Ares punches him, and then we see that his little fist hurts.
Oh, his fingers are
His little
jammed.
fingies. Oh no.
Oh no. So then he's in his tent afterwards, and
Yeah.
he's having an infestation trouble.
Of flies.
Yeah, he's gotta deal with that.
He needs a fly tape.
Yeah, he needs some of that fly tape to hang from the
Oh,
ceiling.
I hate that stuff.
It's gross. It's true.
But it gets the job done, guys.
Ugh.
So, I mean, we have like a fly buzzing around, and he's really mad at it, and then the camera angle goes into there's a crazy lens. So
Yeah, it's like
I guess
a really wide lens, but then like really close to his face. So it,
yeah,
like,
it's almost
distorts.
like fisheye, but not quite.
Yeah, not quite.
And I guess we should suspect things at this point.
I guess I didn't. I was just like, this dude is losing it because he's not a god anymore.
Sure.
Yeah,
There seems
exactly.
like enough reason
Yeah.
to lose
Yeah.
it. And honestly, we've all been there with like an insect buzzing around your
Yeah.
head, and
Oh
you
my
just
God,
like
yes.
it goes on for hours, and you're just like subhuman by the end. You're just like, I can't exist.
So he can't kill his fly, and he smashes the fly lands on some grapes, and he just like punches the grapes, and he can't get it. So then you hear Xena, and she goes, "The great god of war can't even hurt a fly."
She like laughs at him.
Yeah.
It's like a very humiliating moment.
Yeah, because then she snatches it up like Mr. Miyagi and like immediately kills it.
This reminded me of a quote from King Lear.
Okay, make it serious.
Okay, all right, here's a serious moment. So, in King Lear, we have the quote, "As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods. They kill us for their sport." So in other words, gods just like swat humans like flies, which I feel like is very Ares.
Yeah.
Before he lost his godhood. So I
Right.
love that now Ares, without his godhood, can't
Can't
even
even
kill
hurt a
an
fly,
actual
yeah.
fly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we find out from their interaction here that Ares is calling in his favor. And what does he want? He wants his godhood back.
But he's willing to, like, he wants Xena to negotiate with the Amazons in, like, a non-violent way. He says he's trying to, like, avoid a war, which I think is very noticeable, that at the very beginning of this, we understand that he has summoned Xena, you know, for diplomacy. Like,
Yeah.
that's what he wants. He's not trying to get her to, like, help him destroy the Amazons.
Right, yeah.
But to his surprise, that's what she offers him.
Meanwhile, Gabs is talking to Marga, and Marga says that Ares has just been attacking and burning their land.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So I don't know how nonviolent it is.
Yeah, super nonviolent. Well, that's just their land. He hasn't killed them.
Well, at that point, Varia is like, we're going to defend it to the death. So that is very violent, it sounds like.
And we get the sense that Varia is like a very proud Amazon. Like she
Yeah.
says something like, you know, he's reduced us to living like bandits in
Yes.
our own land,
Yes.
which I thought was a good line. Gives you a real sense of like what Varia is about.
Yes.
She just can't stand to like the indignity of it.
And we jump back to Ares in his tent, and we find out that Artemis came to him in a dream
This was ridiculous.
and told him that there's ambrosia in the Amazon land. What?
That's silly.
It's funny because I have the sense that, like, in fandom, you know, Artemis is a big deal, particularly for her connection to the Amazons. Like, her as this patron god of the Amazons. I feel like you never see that in the show.
No.
Right,
So
you just see her going, arrows!
Well, Vera, you talked
Yeah.
so much about how that bummed you out. And for sure that is what fandom does. Fandom
Fixes.
makes the good things
Yeah.
happen.
So I thought it was really funny that here in Melissa Good's episode, Artemis's connection to the Amazons gets a name check.
Artemis is, well, that's like the first time she's name checked. It's kind of setting up like a big episode down the line.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think this shows this is the fan service season because these things that fandom had talked about all along kind of finally appear.
Yeah. I wish they appeared on the show beforehand.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think he's ever even talked to Artemis.
I know, it's so weird. My sister Artemis, they're like, oh, you're her brother? Okay. Sure. So yeah, she comes to him in a dream from like beyond the grave.
Yeah.
And is like, go eat this ambrosia that the
Amazons are
have.
hoarding, yeah.
Is this left over from the quest?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That was, remember that jelly? Yep.
Yeah, all right.
So then Xena's suddenly like, you know what would be great? Me getting control of your army and squashing the Amazons. That's a little odd.
It's weird.
It is odd, because up till now it seemed like a normal scene.
Yeah, she's been like kind of like sparring with him like the normal. Like,
She's flirting
like normal,
with him in a
in
slightly like antagonizing manner.
But it seems normal.
We
for
know
Xena
she wasn't
and
supposed to
Ares.
go talk to him.
Well, she was supposed to
different
check
plan.
out the camp.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
So-
So she could have gone
Coulda
to
gone.
talk
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
It seems legit for a
Yes,
while.
Yes.
I like when he's like, "Are you up to something? Like, this is not the usual way you talk to me about stuff." And she like kind of squishes his face.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
gives him a little smoosh.
Yeah.
And it's like, "Do I have to be up to something?" I mean, I love how Lucy is playing this.
Yeah.
Because it's a little off, but not so off that I think it gives the game away.
I think the performances for Crazy Ares and Furies. Xena, spoiler. It was
both
very
good?
great. They're very great. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith does a really great job in this episode.
Yeah, I think it's good in that it's very like true to the character. Like I feel like it's not a huge departure from how you usually see Ares, and I think that really works.
Well, it's kind of like a rock bottom.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right? It's just normal Ares, but just a bit more desperate and angry. But like this, we've seen this side of him before. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, I like when she talks to him about doing, the greater good stuff, where like she sort of explains that he did a nice thing, and when he realizes it, she like smacks him in the forehead.
Oh yeah, you did this and this and this, and all because you did a good deed.
Yeah, it was really cute.
It was cute. That made me think that actually, like, before I remembered, like, what was actually going on in this plot, when she was kind of baiting him this way, I thought it was, like, her trying to test him, almost. Like, giving him the option of doing a bad thing to see whether he's really changed for the better. That's what I first thought was going on. And I was like, he has changed. He's nice now. He doesn't want to attack those Amazons. But he does.
Yeah. So it escalates a little bit where she kind of leans in for a kiss.
Uh-huh.
And then Gabs
She's like
walks
sitting
in.
on his knee.
Yeah. But Gabs walks in at that moment. And
Break
number
it
one,
up,
you're
break
like,
it up.
I was like, dude, she's supposed to be
With Margot.
Yeah, we just saw her there. Like, how did she get here? But she seems angry at first, but
like,
then she's into it.
What are you doing?
I like that Ares' response to her breaking up is, and to think I actually saved your life back in motherhood. I thought that was funny. She's always like, cock blocking him.
Well, she goes and sits on his lap. Speaking of cock blocks.
Everything is very strange
This
now.
is when it really goes crazy. This is when you're like, I have no understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I love that it and this feels like maybe due to Melissa Good, but the way it glances back at Gabrielle's character arc, that Ares is like, what? You're like this blonde peacenik. Like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? And she says, like, that Gabrielle's been gone a long time. You and Xena showed me that warriors rule the world, not philosophers. She says it in a really flirty way.
Yeah.
I thought that was great and, like, a great encapsulation of what has happened to the character, especially in season 5. You're like, it's true. She may as well just sit on Ares' knee.
Yeah, so he's got Xena on one side with his arm around her, and he does that, like, you know, fake yawn move that dudes do, and gets the other one around Gabs.
It's real silly.
And he's like, I could get used to this. And so, yeah, you go, oh, yes, OT3.
Yes. Are you into that, Vera? The OT3?
Sure.
You're down with
I
it.
could be into it
Okay.
if I'm forced to.
Okay. That's really enthusiastic.
Well, I don't know, because I'm okay, like, to an extent, I'm all right with Ares and Xena, and I definitely like Ares and Gabs, so I'm like, well, why not together?
Yeah, why not do it all?
So now we're in the Amazon camp, and we have, like, an extended sequence of Amazon training. And, speaking of ships, we have, I guess, a new ship to talk
What do we
about.
call this?
I would say, well, I don't know if it has an official name, but I would say it would probably be called Evaria.
Evaria, yeah. I guess so.
So Eve is watching this training sequence, and she goes into flashback mode. She sees some Romans, and they're killing a bunch of Amazons, and there's slo-mo, and there's blood,
a lot of
and
blood.
it's pretty epic. Uh-oh, what does she do?
Drink the blood.
Yeah, that's all the blood she drank. There it is.
Yeah, and then so
No, she didn't do that in the flesh.
No, she didn't. But
I
she's-
totally thought that's what it was leading up to.
Oh my
She's
God.
like, I did something even worse than killing them. And you're like, it's the blood drinking, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Oh, no.
So Varia walks up to her and she's like, you know, you're super familiar.
Friggin' music. Is this when the music is happening, or is this later?
Which music?
Is
Oh,
it-
no, it's later. That's later.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But she's like, yeah, you're super familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure it out soon. Don't worry.
I thought it was so funny. And she's like, maybe I just have one of those common faces. It's because I look like Callisto, isn't it?
Callisto Xena, yeah. But Varia compliments Eve on her moves from their battle earlier.
She was checking her out.
Yeah, she was checking her out. She's still checking her
100%.
out. Oh, yes. But Eve says she doesn't fight, you know?
She
know?
was just
You know?
trying to protect people from being hurt.
Sure,
By
sure.
flipping them over onto the ground.
And Varia's like, well, you travel with those two. How can you, keep from fighting?
We did this already. You can't. Can't be done.
And Varia basically cuts to the chase. She wants Eve to join them because they need, like, the best warriors for their battle to come.
But Eve will not do it. No, never again.
No.
No. So Varia's like, okay, fine. Well, what if we flirt fight right now?
And Eve's like, well, all right. That's fine. But no, actually, she's like, she does a Hulk, right? She's like, you don't want to see me when I'm angry,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
stalks away
And
to
she's like,
confuse
don't mention my
you.
past. I don't talk about it. Ugh. Cool. So now it's Ares versus Fly, round 2.
Crazy angles.
Yeah.
Everything's weird here.
He gets this one. He kills it on an orange.
And there's blood even on that.
Yeah,
Looks
big
like a
old big old fly.
fly.
Oh, that's like the worst, guys.
When
Yeah.
you see the fly blood.
Oh God, when you kill like a giant fly and it's
That's
just a
gross.
lot.
Oh yeah, it looked gross. Not cool.
So then Eve shows up, and now we're really.
And she just kind of like pops into frame.
Yeah.
Unlike Xena, who kind of like entered the tent, and Gabs too
Right.
entered the tent. Eve is just there.
Yeah, and at this point you're like, okay, no.
Something was up.
Something
I mean,
is
we know
up.
she like stalked out of the previous scene, but it wasn't to go hang out in Ares' tent.
No. So yeah, she's, kind of being like, oh, remember when I used to be your number one? La la la, let's make out, et cetera, et cetera.
And he's like, well, okay.
So now we have like what's the term for this? A quad?
Menage
Quad?
Quad.
Menage a four. A foursome.
Cat.
And they discuss what if we split that ambrosia 4 ways?
4 ways. Nasty.
Nasty! That was so good.
There's a lot of overt
Yeah.
innuendo. or not even innuendo in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying.
It's good. It's good. He's all over that.
And that makes sense, right? I feel like, this is Ares with zero impulse control. There probably would be more overt sexuality.
Well, but even like Gab's earlier being like, he wants you, blurp, blurp.
Oh, right. Like, he wants you.
Like, just stupid stuff.
Don't forget.
And that was like a line,
Nasty. So Ares is like, great, let's get this party rolling.
He's gonna tell his men that they're gonna do like an all-out assault to get that ambrosia.
Yeah, and then we find out that Xena, Gabs, and Eve are the Furies, and they have a crazy plan.
Literally, it's a plan to make him crazy. And it has worked already.
It has worked.
It has immediately worked.
Yes. But, like, the crux of it, like, what they're trying to do is they're gonna avenge the Olympians. Why? I don't know. But that's what they want to do. They want to avenge the Olympians. And then that's gonna lead to them ruling mankind themselves.
Yeah, they'll clear the path. It makes sense, I guess.
Well, I just, didn't realize they...
Cared.
I
think they care in the sense that they're from that.
Are they?
I mean, they're not. I don't think they're Olympians.
But they're calling them, yeah.
But they definitely seem to kind of, they're from that era of God history. Right. And also, that's just what they do, is they avenge things, so.
How do you guys feel about the Furies being back after we saw them just now?
I liked it. I thought I liked the whole idea of having them go to Ares, because he now is the person who needs vengeance. It's true. Xena killed his whole family. I feel like there is some unaddressed stuff there that I think using the Furies is a good way of addressing it.
It's kind of like a part 1 and 2, the Furies.
Yeah. But it is especially funny when you realize that the Furies were supposed to be killed in Motherhood, and they just cut a scene because the episode was so long, thanks to King Rick. I think they saw an opportunity there. They had this dangling plot thread they could resolve.
Okay. I mean, I certainly don't mind seeing our fave Electo back, and she's putting on quite a performance here. I feel like the other two are doing a good job in this episode.
I think they maybe recast
good.
That third one.
Maybe they have.
Wasn't pulling her weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like maybe you're less sure about seeing the Furies so soon.
Well, because I was just like, oh, we just had this whole thing and it was so great. How are we already back with the same trick?
I do think
third time.
I think this episode, one of its weaknesses is that it's a bit derivative. It is just kind of doing plots that we've seen before, really recently, and not just the Furies, but later
Warriors versus Amazons.
I mean, not that. I mean, I don't mind that. I always like that. But the long con again after just a whole season of long cons. I never need to see them again. Ugh. So that especially I think is a problem with this episode. And people being dead, but fake dead or only sort of dead.
It's never a problem.
Katie's I love that shit. It can stay. But yeah, I just feel like it just happens to be that. I mean, it sounds like they moved this episode's running place around. So maybe it wouldn't have been that weird to have the Furies halfway into season 6. But it definitely is noticeably repetitive to have it coming here at the beginning of 6.
So Ares goes outside, and there's a really funny scene with his smith, his armor.
Oh yeah, I dug this.
This was really cute. I thought it was really, really funny.
This felt very like Abbott and Costello, just the kind of goofy, overly literal humor.
Yeah, because he's hearing the Furies and he's responding to the Furies, but obviously a sane man does not see them, so he's talking
to nobody.
Yeah, exactly. So the Smith reacts really funny.
Yeah, so I think the Furies are telling him he doesn't need armor, which is true. What have we ever seen?
But they also want him to be killed. They want
they want him to be
Ares
killed.
or Xena to be killed. Yeah,
they're setting him up for death.
Yeah.
So he's kind of talking to them about the armor, and it leads to Ares being like, "You think?" And the Smith being like, "I try not to, sir." You've got a point there. I thought I filed them all down.
Yeah,
it's very funny. Yeah. So then we get the other obvious place for humor, which is he just saw Xena and Gabs and was talking to them, goes into his tent, and Xena and Gabs enter it. And he's like,
real ones.
What? I was just talking to you outside.
Yeah.
God. And they're just like, what is wrong with this man?
Gab says he lost his mind, and then Xena's like, oh, number one, that's a sensitive topic, because we just had motherhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you lost your mind.
Yeah.
Remember, Gabs?
And number two, she immediately, like, I mean, she was pretty quick on the uptake there, too. But, like,
very quick.
here she's, like, immediately like,
Furies.
he was pushed there by the Furies.
I love that bit where he stalks past Gaz and is like, don't touch me.
Oh my God, yeah.
And she was not.
No, I don't really think so. He might have bumped
But
into her.
he's seen a lot of episodes of Xena, and he knows about her love of the comforting arm touch.
So he goes outside again, and he's like, oh, let's go, army. And then actual Xena runs out, and she's like, no, don't do this. Like, we don't need this war or whatever. Let's figure this out. But Furies Xena,
Who's also there,
Yeah.
confusingly.
is like literally trying to block her with her body.
Yeah, this was like a slightly questionable green screen effect in which you have a shot of Lucy Lawless as Xena being like, Ares, don't. And then suddenly there's like this big Lucy Lawless who just like blocks out the rest of the
little
shot.
Lucy Lawless, yeah.
It was odd.
So big Lucy Lawless wins.
Of course she does.
And so Ares is like, death to the Amazons, yay! And all the soldiers are like, yay! And they march to battle. So the only way that they can like stop this or kind of pause it is that Xena chakrams some like rocks into a quarry to block their path.
And this is reused footage from, I think, A Necessary Evil with falling rocks to block Callisto.
Great.
Good times.
So back in the Amazon camp, Katie,
Yeah.
this is the sexy scene
Yeah,
with...
it's very sexy.
Yeah.
Like, just immediately, it starts with like a close up of Eve cleaning her sexy thigh wound.
Yeah.
And Varia walks in. There's very like
insane
it's like the
music
spa
here.
music from the Amazon village.
It's like Jello picks up the saxophone and he starts being like...
I think of this as the hot tub soundtrack.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, like this, but like the
shit.
sauna steam rooms that they have.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So, I mean, the music is telling us to think of the scene in a certain way. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So, they're doing that. They compare scars, which is also
the
super
sexiest
hot.
thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, just like in Jaws.
I
So
believe that
sexy.
scene was extremely homoerotic.
Yes.
It's my favorite. Well,
It is the best scene.
I was gonna say it's my favorite scene like ever, but it's like coming off your comment. That's not specifically why, but it is. It certainly is.
Yeah. So this is definitely a Amazon way of flirting. And
I like when they like describe their like battle feelings.
Yeah. So Varia shows her, she's like, hey, you want to check out this scar? And she shows her like a big old wound. And she goes, this was from a Roman short sword. And then she's like, the man who did this like died before he fell to the ground or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of thing like that.
I
and
paid him back.
Yeah, and then
Nobody wounds Varia.
And then this excites Eve, and she goes for it. She's like, "Oh yeah, check this out." And
This is quite a placement.
Yeah. She shows her like her back, right? It's like
lower
back, and she's like, "That's from a Gaelic spear." And then she like really one-ups her by saying that the dude who did that, like his whole village and his whole like town was.
I drank all their blood.
Was definitely
all drunk.
And so that really gets Varia hot, and she's like, "Can you just show me some moves, please? Now, let's go touch each other while fighting."
And Eve was like, will you use them to hurt people?
And Varia's like,
and
definitely
Varia's like,
not.
Shifty-eyed, no, never.
And so he was like, "Great, let's do it." So they do a sexy fight teaching situation where you kind of cut to like she already taught her one move, and Varia's like showing off. Tsianina is showing off her ability to do stuff.
It is pretty funny to see, little Adrian trying to teach Tsianina how to do things.
So yeah, and so then she's like, okay, show me another, and so Eve's like, okay, great. Let me show you my signature move, and she does this like
Mistake.
flippity do, and
Of course, it would be a flippity do.
Yeah, it's quite a mistake because Varia has only seen one warrior use the flippity do, and it is Livia, bitch of Rome.
Bitch of Rome.
Whoops.
So
Oh, well.
Xena and Gabs arrive with the pizzas, and
They find it all on fire.
it's all on fire. The Amazons have Eve like in this crazy contraption on her neck.
This is wild, like a giant kinky dog collar situation.
I didn't really get it because it looked like it had pointies coming out of it, but I'm assuming they were other pointies at her neck. So like if she falls,
I think it would be
pierces her
bad.
on all sides of her neck. But like it just looked weird. And then they
Our
also
friend Nora wants you to know that that's probably the crown of thorns, Jesus symbology.
Sure, it's like a necklace of thorns.
Yeah, necklace of thorns.
And they have her like various ropes, and they're like pulling at her, and then there's also spears that they're holding. So they're just it's like a whole
everything's pointy.
It's like very
basically.
pointy and extra. And you can hear like some of them scream things like "Flay her alive!"
Yeah.
Wow.
which was very intense.
Look, she did really bad things to these women.
Yeah.
It is justified.
So Xena's like, "What the fuck?" And Eve's like, "They know who I am, mother. Oh no."
That's so accurate.
Don't you feel like they should have talked about this a little bit? I
They
mean,
sh- yes.
Eve really should have.
They could have had a conversation about
She should have been like, Mom, I think maybe I shouldn't go here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
Mom.
But then they're like, oh no, Joxer has our money and you killed him.
Shit.
Too real.
So anyway, it turns out that Eve, her army attacked that tribe at night, and many of their great warriors were killed. And those were the lucky ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she destroyed the whole nation and sold them into slavery. Good job, Eve.
Yeah, and you have
yikes.
Xena's disappointing Eve.
I was like,
I know. That was
lady.
I know. I was like, what the hell with this judge voice? Come on.
Don't be so judgy.
Xena, please.
No. Xena literally massacred the Amazons
I know.
herself.
Yeah.
I was just like, just look around at these spiky trees. You could probably see one that you threw one of them on. You have to have a heart-to-heart with Eve.
So Marga says that Eve must die by Amazon law, but then Gabs is like, hold up.
This is cool.
I challenge you on that. That kind of talks Marga into having some sense.
She does not want to go up against Gabs, which I thought was great. Because who would? Look at her! I would not want to challenge her.
But I mean, like I said, she's pretty sensible here. She goes, well, okay, yes, we have
We have other
army coming.
We need everybody on the same page.
We can't be like dealing with this right now. Like, just go put her in the hut and tie her up, and we'll deal with Eve later. So Varia is tasked at taking her into the hut.
The hot hut.
Yes.
Okay, she ties her up real good.
Yeah.
And then she's like totally thinking about murdering her.
Yes.
But then Xena interrupts.
Oh, Mom. And she's like, honey, why don't you tell us?
Yeah, this was
We're
funny.
heading into a scene here.
This scene is something.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was all, I think, added later because
Okay.
they realized they needed this beat. They needed several beats here.
Yeah.
Well, which part? First,
I think
she's
actually
like,
all of it was added later.
oh, the whole thing.
The whole scene. Yeah.
So even the beginning where
I think
Xena's
so.
threatening them.
Yeah. I think they realized that Xena and Eve didn't really have any character interaction this episode.
Oh.
And they felt they needed to put some in.
Gotcha.
So.
Gabs' hair looks good here.
Oh,
That's my note.
Though I think the lighting is really pretty in this tent.
Yeah.
This is a tent of beautiful lighting.
Well, like, isn't so Xena's kind of like, why didn't you tell us this sort of thing? Yeah. Well, like, Eva's just like, I didn't want to disappoint you or something.
Yeah,
right.
Eva's like, I know how much you care about the Amazons.
Yeah.
This is probably a big deal.
Oh, and she mentions Xena and Gabs. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. It's for both her moms.
Yep.
She didn't want to let down.
And then it's nice. Like Xena's like, this. And then the scene like just pivots.
It literally pivots, and then Xena turns around out of the scene and like starts another scene.
Yeah.
She's like, so the transition is, I know how hard it is to say you're sorry, especially to someone you love. So she's, of course, you're referring to like Eve's issues with killing all of the Amazons.
I'm telling her mom about it.
And then telling her mom about it, of which she would have been very understanding, having done it herself. And then turns around to Gabs and is like, I'm sorry, I framed you with that chakram, whoops. OMG.
And Gabs looks about as startled to hear this apology as we were to hear this apology.
I actually did not write down the exact lines because I was too busy being like... it's really funny though. I think that it's good that in this respect to have the Furies in the episode because it does tie back to that.
That's true.
Even though the conversation at hand was about something else, it's still part of the episode, so you can kind of feel her going like, yeah, it's in there, it just happened, sort of, we think. But then I would just kind of, it makes me chuckle slightly because I know it was a huge controversy and a big deal, and that was part of why they needed the beat in there, correct? And so they wanted to have this addressed, and Lucy and Renee wrote this.
I love it. Yeah, I love that they wrote it.
So what are the lines?
Gabrielle, when I hit you with my chakram... Xena, it wasn't your fault, it was the Furies. And then she says something like, you know, they bewitched me to kill your daughter. Mm-hmm. I've forgiven you. You should too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then she's like, Xena's like, nearly lost you. Mm-hmm. And Gaz is like, but you didn't.
Wow, I think they should get some awards for that, right?
Yes! Good writing, right? It really covers it all.
It's
all
exactly good now. Because of it needed to be addressed, supposedly. I mean, sure, I think it needed to be addressed. I do. I'm leaning way into my love of that thing happening, so I'm being a little silly. But yeah, I just think that it did slightly come out of nowhere, but the way that they do it is fun. And I like that it's basically just like, when I hit you with the thing, and if indeed, like, it seems like they wrote it, like, I love that Renee 100,000% knows this character, and it's just like, nope, stop what you're saying. It's totally fine. I tried to murder your daughter. It's over. I've forgiven you. Don't forgive yourself. It's done. It's fine. At the end.
Though she doesn't quite say that. She puts all the blame on the Furies. She doesn't like...
Yeah, the Furies...
Yeah, she doesn't make it sound like that she herself is to blame
not what
for
I
anything.
Meant.
Yeah.
I misspoke. Yeah. But like, yeah, the dialogue, she gets it.
Because I almost wanted that. I wanted Gab's reaction
wanted her to be like, I did this.
Well, to just feel like she was to blame too, to feel guilty about it. Because she like almost killed Eve.
I don't think she should. I don't think she should feel guilty.
But I think it's a perfectly rational, irrational thing to think, which is like, oops, I did this. Oh no.
Right.
And, you know, maybe it comes from a real place of like anger. Like, I do feel like the way they're both trying to
You think it's a little too hand wavy? It was the Furies by.
They're trying to sweep all the feelings under the rug, and like that isn't dealing with this. That's my issue with it, is that they're dealing with it by not dealing with it. And I'm like, oh man.
I guess, but what else are they going to do?
No,
I honestly don't know where it goes else.
Yeah.
I think this is perfect and fine.
It's one of those things where like, I like the drama. I like to actually have the characters like at odds and like dealing with the hard feelings. No, I know you do, you, but like it's one of those things where like if you'd have to have a whole episode about this.
Yeah,
you know?
it wouldn't have to be an entire episode.
Like you need to literally see the characters like wrestling with these
Illusion
feelings.
Part 2, guys.
Exactly,
Two.
like figuring out ways to talk to each other about this, like kind of doing it with like a neat little bow on, like whoops, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry too. Okay,
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Sure,
how I feel.
but like I think that to make herself okay with it too, and that all of that did happen, like it's not Gabrielle to do a murder, and I think it's okay, like to do a murder of Xena's. Well, to like it's not her to like literally take a knife and stab Xena's daughter. So I think that it's okay for her to be like, the Furies led me to this, and it's cool. It's over.
Yeah,
like,
it's not wrong. It's just one of those things where I think it's a very easy way of like addressing.
Whereas the other stuff was very much just everybody making choices.
Yeah.
And this was
in the rift, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that needed an illusion. Like this doesn't necessarily need an illusion, but it is the sort of thing where like, I mean, obviously I'm glad they addressed it. We were talking about this in Motherhood, how much we needed this addressed. And like if they had just literally pretended it didn't happen, you'd be like, oh, nah. But I do think this isn't quite enough.
Do you think Eve's spider pet is with her right now?
Oh my God.
No.
Where in that outfit would it be hiding?
Somewhere. She put it somewhere. Okay, so this is where, Xena's like, we gotta take the Furies out for good this time, because, we're sick of them making people kill my daughter, and et cetera, et cetera. So, meanwhile, we have Electo Xena, and she is having a blast with Ares. He's waiting for the soldiers to clear the rubble from the quarry, and she goes, "What's the matter? Can't get your rocks off?" I like that line.
That was pretty good.
That was like the only line that can exist in this entire show.
Good rock pun.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, Electo / Lucy as Electo, both these actresses playing Electo are having so much of a good time.
Yeah.
I was sad that they killed this character
I
off.
know.
She entertains me.
I know.
Always.
She's good. She's so good. Okay, so then actual Xena arrives, and she tells Ares that it's the Furies. Bro, you got some Furies in your noggin. And then he has a proper meltdown. Like, literally.
He's like, no, it's you!
Oh my God.
Well, that's kind of like how then she has to like literally flip away out of the scene. And then that was like
she's just like, I can't deal with
infinity flips kind of thing. Like she flips all the way up onto like the top of the mountain.
But yeah, this meltdown of Ares, which is just like the rejection meltdown. I mean, and we've seen him do these, but never quite this like babyish. Like he's just whining.
Yeah. It's really embarrassing.
He's like, you hate me. You've always hated me.
And this is all in front of his soldiers.
Yeah,
like,
we're just watching this.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
The way this shot is good, because you always see them in there. You're always reminded of like how public this meltdown is.
It's like secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, it's very humiliating.
I hated it.
My favorite part, though, is Xena trying to talk him down and being like, we just don't want the same things. That was really generous of her to even go there. Wow. She did not have to say that.
So she flipped out of that scene, and she runs into the other scene, this new scene with the Amazons. And they're, like, dishing out the weaponry. They're getting ready for war. And she's like, what the fuck, guys? I told you that you have to flee. Like, don't attack them. You gotta just get out of here.
But Margaret's like, now.
The Amazons have that weird cauldron that they dip the arrows
Oh,
in.
yeah. What is that,
I
poison?
don't know. What is the bubbly brown stuff?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Molten something or other.
Who knows? Maybe Artemis knows.
Are they
we'll
flaming
never find
arrows? Are you gonna set them
out. Oh,
on
maybe
fire?
they're flaming
On
arrows.
fire.
There we go.
Flaming
We've solved
stuff.
it.
But okay, so Margaret's like, no, we're not gonna run away again, and give up our land.
Yeah.
Because like without their land, they're like
They're
not
nothing.
Amazons anymore.
Yeah, which is interesting because like, are you an Amazon without your land?
I mean, what about those nomadic northern Amazons?
Right?
Do they have land?
Yeah.
They seem pretty uncertain in their living situation.
Is Gabs like because she's an Amazon? Like,
Yeah, she doesn't have land.
yeah. Well, Xena's like, yo, Ares is crazy, so you can't win this. Like, literally, you cannot.
Which is weird, because him being crazy seems part of why they probably have an advantage, but okay.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, too bad, bye, we're going anyway. So it's a showdown, and Ares is like taunting Marga.
Oh yeah, he's like on his horse.
Yeah.
And his horse is wearing armor, but he isn't.
Oh. So this is the second scene where Xena's war cry breaks up like some kind of...
She busts in there.
Yeah, she busts in there to stop that.
Oh, this was one of my favorite Ares lines when Marga's like, you know, we won't take another backwards step. You'll have to kill every last one of us. And Ares is like, okay, but what'll I do for the rest of the afternoon? I thought that was pretty good. That was a good line.
So Xena breaks it up and she comes and she's kind of like taunting him and she wants to fight him.
What's the matter, God of War? You afraid of a girl?
This is my favorite part. One of the soldiers goes, no.
Defending Ares. He's not afraid of them girls.
No.
That was the best. That was a return to some season 1 ADR in the background.
Yeah,
like,
it was glorious.
Oh, man.
We missed that shit.
So Xena punches him and his lip bleeds.
Mm-hmm. And she points it out to all his men because
like,
he hasn't been publicly embarrassed enough.
I know, yeah. And the Furies surround him and they start incepting him extra, being like, kill her, kill her! And he's acting very crazy.
And his men basically lose heart. They see
Yeah,
him.
because they see that this is just very weird now. And Xena taunts him. She jumps on the horse and gallops away. And Ares is like, fuck it! And he jumps on the horse and starts chasing her. So they leave the scene. And once they leave, like, his men are like, guys, what if we just leave too? So they run away, retreat.
Be here.
Yeah, and
So Margot wins.
Yeah, the Amazons are like, yay, we win!
I thought this horse chase scene was pretty good. A return in some ways to like Callisto, Xena horse chases. Like how you have like all the close-ups of like the horse legs running and the horse faces and the trees flashing past. It's good quality.
This is where the episode like really kicks into gear as far as the filmmaking goes, I think.
Yeah, Bees is on it.
Yeah.
He's ready.
He's buzzing. So Gabs frees Eve from the hut, and she's like, "We gotta go. We gotta go somewhere. Well, I have somewhere to be."
Yeah, we gotta grab some rugs.
Oh
Quick,
yeah,
get all the rugs. We gotta take them with us. You're like, what? Okay.
So all right, so Xena and Ares, they end up in a very special location. Like they enter a snow globe. Like, what is going on?
Just in the middle
here?
of nowhere. They clearly have sprayed the grass white in here.
Yeah.
What happened? Where are they?
I don't know. It's like warm enough to have no shirts on for the Amazons, and then you just go a little bit
it's
on
a
horse.
microclimate.
It's not like they went far.
Yeah, I don't know. They needed it to be this way.
Be high. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's a special little
great.
place.
It certainly looks great.
I mean, it looks fun.
It looks fun. It doesn't look great.
It
looks
looks fun. Like an ice place.
Yeah, it's like a little ice place.
Definitely cold.
Yeah, very
by
cold.
By natural means.
So they have a little one-on-one here where they do some fisticuffs.
Okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Are you ready to die, Xena? Been there, done that, says Xena. A great episode of my show, Xena.
I liked it. So yeah, they fight. There's some punching that happens. There's some slow-mo mouth blood.
Yes.
That's good.
When he spits on the snow, very nice.
Ooh, yeah.
It's very like
drama.
Very unexpected, man. Like if you remember the little Baby Town Frolics show,
you would not do mouth blood.
You hardly did scrapes. Mm-hmm. This was beautiful. This was amazing. I'm so glad we're finally in
Season 6?
In the 21st century, doing television like how it is.
On TV.
Yes.
TV is violent.
Yes.
Yay! All right, I'll put a coin in for that. And of course, Xena like takes out the chakram and throws it out of frame.
Yeah, that was a cool shot. She throws it like right at the camera, and I don't know. It was really like sexy.
And then it just disappears.
I liked it.
It goes away.
It goes away.
It's
Goodbye.
gone. Bye, chakram.
That
We'll
was
see you
weird.
later, chakram. There's fighting. There's flirting. It's very shippy.
My
if this is your
favorite
ship.
part of Ares' meltdown here. I love all of Ares' meltdowns this episode, I gotta say. I just find it somehow very sweet and endearing. All his misogyny, it's super problematic of me. But each time he does this, I'm like, ah, poor baby's hurting. But yeah, does this give you pleasure? And he just says it in this just like almost goofy voice. It's just like literally the voice of a toddler, like a wronged toddler.
Yeah.
And he compares her to like all these animals, which like made no sense. I don't know what that was about. And then he's just like, "You're mean."
Yeah.
He really just
Yeah.
like 2-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
"You're mean. I wish I could open you up and show people the mean inside of you." It's gross, but also
Yeah.
sweet. I don't know. It's a problem. Ares on this like toxic masculinity spiral is weirdly entertaining.
So there's a lot of, as we mentioned, great shots of this fight. There's the wider shot, and then like you go into these like intimate like slo-mo punches and things. It's very, very cool. Really great moments when Ares punches Xena a lot in the face.
Yep.
And she has a mouthful of blood.
There's good face makeup in this episode.
Oh yeah. Oh, one of my favorites is that you could see the scrapes on his knuckles.
Yes,
Yeah.
and look, those
That
look
was
very real.
so cool.
Yeah.
I like his little dancey hop
Yeah.
that he does here because he's getting the better of her. It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And she's having trouble on the ice, like
Yeah.
flippy sliding.
Uh-huh.
and stuff.
Yeah, he's backing her up into like closer to the water.
Yeah.
Because there's this like lake situation behind
Her
them.
bangs are sweaty also.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Her
The
eyes are
sweaty
insanely
bangs.
blue in this one, for sure.
Ooh, I love the part where he's just wailing on her with his chafed fists, and she like grabs them and squeezes them.
Ooh, and it
you-
crunch.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get the crunch noise.
Ew, bad,
Bad
gross.
noise.
It's good. And so she says through her mouthful of like bloody teeth, "You might be immortal, but you will never be a man," which is like such a burn.
This is a
It
burn.
really cuts deep. And the Furies are like, "Kill her, kill her, kill her!" And he hits her. She flies into the frozen lake and basically drowns under the ice.
Oh no, I'm worried.
The Furies immediately vacate his head, which makes me go, oh, like when the job is done, they leave.
Right.
Remember when we
Right.
said that, like,
That's true.
Yeah, we
where
were-
Gabs was being driven to kill
Yeah.
Eve.
Chakram. They
I
just
guess it
left
was
But
in the
Eve
chakram.
wasn't dead yet.
I don't know.
She did it.
I guess they don't follow through.
I think the Furies really need to like examine their like way of doing things and stick around like
I
a
know, they
couple
should
minutes
stick around a little bit
more.
more. Yeah, but Alecto, she's such an eager beaver. She's like, "You just killed your beloved, Ares. How does it feel?" And then my favorite line maybe of this whole episode, where she's like, "We have avenged the death of the Olympians. Now the Furies will rule in their place."
Yeah, that's how she says it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, rolls
You're
that R.
Crazy.
They're nuts, but that celebration lasts for 2 seconds.
seconds.
Because that chakram comes back from its lunch break and kills them. All three of them burn
Yeah.
up.
Just like in one fell
Yeah,
swoop.
yeah.
I don't like it.
I hate it.
It's very stupid.
Yeah.
It is not a clever way of getting out of this.
Yeah, and I really
predicament.
didn't like a lot of the explanations for it either, which is that like it wasn't any less ridiculous than like other things that have happened on the show, and that the chakram is kind of has like a magic wand quality. I was like, but not like this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
Like
like been
that.
used to this.
Yeah.
Like-
extent.
What was he doing? Like, where did it
Bouncing
go?
around. She knew they were
lunch,
gonna stand
and then
there
when
or
lunch
something.
was over,
It's
it came back.
Yeah.
bananas.
Yeah, it was just too no. And maybe if you'd literally seen it bouncing around,
Yeah.
like if they'd done the work of establishing like where
Right,
it was as
right.
this was
Yeah.
happening. But yeah, they sort of wanted the surprise, but it's a bad surprise
Yeah,
because
it's
it's a
dumb.
surprise where you're just like,
I
what?
thought they were lucky, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, it still keeps going at this point.
That's
after killing
true.
them,
It's
so
not
it's
done.
not even done.
It takes a cigarette break now for a little bit, for just
Yeah,
a couple of minutes.
So Ares freaks out and he jumps into the water to rescue Xena.
Oh, yeah, we didn't really talk about her, like, drowning under
Oh,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that shit's good.
So it's good, because you can see her face, and she definitely drowns, and then he's like, you're so beautiful, that's me.
It's weird, right? Because the visual reminded me so much of the, the ice cave and him burying her,
Yeah, he loves
under
that.
the lid of the ice.
He does love that image.
He mirrors that same thing with his hand, kind of touching it, and you're so beautiful. It's almost like he's having a flashback to that.
Well, he's
her
crazy.
being dead that time.
So I can see him going back there, yeah.
I also think it's important to call out his I'm not a man, like you're right, I'm the man.
No!
Again with the alpha male talk of Ares.
Also ruining something good.
I thought it worked.
Oy.
Of course he would say something stupid. That's how he is. And it's meant to be stupid.
Yeah. Well, he jumps in and he pulls her out, and we get some great imagery here too for a little bit.
Clapping.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty epic slow-mo.
It's pretty epic.
Gorgeous.
It's very
Beautiful.
over the top. I am going to say it is deeply cheesy.
It is
It
a
is
bit.
I didn't find it cheesy
The
when he
dissolves
actually.
and the yelling,
That's
but in
cheesy.
an awesome way.
But like the image of him coming out
that's
immediately.
Not, no,
with
that's
her,
great.
and she's all
like,
flopped.
lifting her up and stuff.
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
good. But then the dissolves of the yelling.
There's a few very over the top dramatic dissolves of him yelling, and I appreciate them, but they are very cheesy.
So he like puts her on the snowy bank of this lake, and that's where you have Gabs and Eve. Like they run in at that point.
Yeah,
and they got some blankies.
Some blankets.
And
ready to go.
Gabs goes to work.
Yeah.
Well, I love how Ares is like, I killed her.
I love him.
And
He's
Gabs is
great
just like,
in this.
no, you didn't.
He's fine. Like, he is really good here because, like, he recognizes what has happened, and then, like, he's very, very sad and upset about it.
Yeah, and of course the
and
contrast, right, between the kind of bitchy, wronged man Ares that we've had through this episode who is saying all sorts of misogynistic nonsense, and then the person who I think we're supposed to understand is like real Ares,
right?
Who, like, is just immediately remorseful, and you see the growth in the character from that early like I can't have her and I hate her to like I want to save her, I respect her.
Aww.
Yeah, Gabs comes in, like we said, with the blankies.
Yeah, she now enters Grey's Anatomy mode.
Okay, because she has that line. He's like, "I killed her," and she's like, "No, she drowned in cold water.
Her organs are still alive."
So this is part of the plan, right? Xena was like, you have to kill me to like get the Furies to go away. So why don't you drown me in cold water so that my organs will
and
live?
Please do extra CPR. The most we have seen on this show ever, including the like cardiopulmonary part, whatever, chest things. I don't know. They had not gotten that far on purpose before, only like on accident.
Yeah.
TV CPR. Is this the best example
in
of it?
show?
Yeah, no.
In this
on
show?
this program?
Yeah.
No, is there a doctor in the house? You mean scene generally?
Yeah.
No.
You like
You're asking me if this one's better than is there a doctor in the house?
I am.
No.
Yeah, because that one lived. That was not part of the
like
plan.
10 minutes long.
Yeah, that's
scene.
true. That was a
that
drama.
one was real. This one's fake.
Like,
one is
freaking out.
Yeah.
I guess I like seeing it reversed. I like that Gabs gets to do the reviving. That makes me happy.
So it's fun.
Well, wait for put a pin in it.
Anyway, I call it Grey's Anatomy Science because I did learn that was from Grey's, the fairy one. No,
the one where Meredith
episode.
drowns in the cold water.
She was under there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a big deal. That's classic episode of Grey's Anatomy.
Anyway, so they do the CPR. It's good. Eve is there being like, nah.
No one told Eve the plan.
She might have filled her on the way.
Maybe.
She should have taken off her little
mouth-to-mouth
blanket that she wears and put
grabbed
it on
Xena
her.
in. Yeah,
extra.
I agree.
You know,
Xena did it all the blankets.
And this is very
fantastic.
A fan wrote this as well. But as I said, Xena leans into this kind of thing so much that we were just talking about other episodes, and this is not the first time
We've seen TV
so
CPR.
it fits right in nicely. But just like this whole concept that we've discussed before, where it was literally in quotes from Melissa Good being like, and then they kiss, do mouth to mouth. Like, you know what I mean? So there's that kind of thing. But then she's fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
They were probably like, Melissa Good, how do we like resolve this whole situation with Ares being possessed by the Furies, etc., etc.? And Melissa Good is like, TV CPR
between Xena and Gabrielle.
And they're like, what? And she's like, I don't know. I'll make it work, all right? The chakram is going to be flying for 10 minutes. I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, so like the last thing Xena does is catches that fucking
She looks
chakram.
blue. It's fun.
Yeah, the makeup is fun here. Her
Yeah.
like dead makeup.
So it's slightly less good than the other. Like, it's a great scene, but she looks so like, oh no. You're like, ooh. Oh no.
Get her a cocoa.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all part of the plan. Oh my god, great.
I this one was too much for me. I gotta say, I didn't like the other one.
Yeah.
But this one, I really was like, there's just no way that this could be a plan. It just doesn't make any sense. You couldn't predict any of this working. It is a terrible plan.
Here's the snub caps. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drown myself.
In cold water.
Please bring the blankets.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so after that, we have sad non-man Ares sitting on a log.
Yeah.
And he's having a little
I really
thinky.
like the scene. It's very pretty.
Yeah, the
sunsetty.
tableau is very nice.
Yeah, because it's
Doing
on the
his
burnt
thinking.
forest.
Yeah.
It is a good place and a good scene. So Xena comes up to him, and she kisses him.
Well, she's very nicely tending to his wounds that she inflicted upon him.
Right, because they hurt.
They're both really beat up.
they're
Like,
both
she's
very beat
limping.
Right, but she's a human and knows it, and he's all like, "Wah."
And like he's still being kind of Ares-y at her. And
Yeah.
she's like, "You never give up," or whatever the line is.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
never
I'm
give
saying.
up, do you? And then
Yeah.
they kiss.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
kisses him.
I thought this kiss really reminded me of, I guess this is a Buffy discussion, so
Spoilers.
Spoilers,
for
close your
Buffy.
eyes.
Is it season
Just close your
5
ears.
Buffy, right?
Is that?
I
Well,
think so.
I'm talking about a very specific moment with Spike.
Yeah, in season 5
Okay,
Buffy.
yes, okay.
Which is weird because that's happening in the future.
Oh,
Xena
yeah.
did it first!
Oh, shit! Okay, so spoiler talk for like a hot 2 secs.
Okay.
Close your ears, people who don't want to be spoiled. Yeah, so when Spike, who's very much like Ares in this episode, is kissed by the Buffy bot, who then we find out is actually Buffy.
Buffy pretending to be the Buffy
Yes.
bot. But yeah, it's also like he's been beaten the crap out of.
Yeah.
And she's kind of doing it as a thank you.
Yes,
And, like,
exactly. Because
that's how
he's
I
like
see this
also, it's
kiss.
literally the same character situation where he's like a douche.
You
but
know
then
how
you know
Spike
he's
has that
nice.
line, "I'm not a monster, but I can't be a man."
Yeah.
Which is like
Yeah,
from the
it's-
people who saw Xena.
Who saw this? I mean,
I'm pretty
it's
sure that's
so-
season 5 too.
Yeah, and like maybe why I'm so okay with this type of Ares is because I really, really
It's
loved
very Spike
that whole
vibes
thing on
for
Spike,
sure.
yeah.
And yeah,
Wait, season 5 Buffy is airing
right now.
Right now.
But this is the first episode of season 6
Yeah.
Xena, so it's
Yeah.
beating all this.
Gotcha.
season
Did it
5
first.
stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Did it
bitch.
first. Did it first.
Okay, so we're back to talking about Xena now.
Well, the kiss had been cut out of motherhood.
That's right. I think this whole scene actually was basically what
Yeah.
they filmed for Motherhood, which
Right, 'cause
was
they needed
her
to, like-
saying thank you.
Yeah, they need to end this whole thing.
And I think we remembered reading that at the end of Motherhood, he like was complaining about being mortal and not being able to apparate out of scenes. So that even that gag at the end of the
Yeah.
episode is, I think, from Motherhood.
Well, we have some dialogue here from Xena that I thought was like the most kind of, I don't know, it's like I've wanted to hear this line for a really long time because she just like never really like says her stuff about it.
That's a good
Like,
point.
you
We
always-
don't hear her perspective.
Yes, you always hear his perspective and then she's always like, and
Shut
then-
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to talk to you.
So like it was really nice to sort of finally hear it and be done with it. I thought this was like a final like,
Yes,
we're
I
done
agree.
with this now.
This feels like here.
Yeah.
This is how things stand.
Yes.
Deal with it.
Yeah. So he's like, I guess I'm finally getting to you because she kissed him. And she goes, you always got to me, but you were bad for me, Ares. You still are. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
It's like, it was kind of also like, okay, shippers, don't go. Like, this is not the thing.
This is not
This
a
is
good,
not the thing.
This is not a good thing. The character is saying, "I don't want this. Goodbye."
Yeah. So
You can still ship it.
you
in
can
the
still
future.
still ship it, but if this was your OTP, I would be really upset.
This is definitely a ship sinking
Yeah,
moment.
this is a bummer. So he's like, "Oh, is there a chance, for us? Like 1 in 1,000?" And she's like, "More like 1 in 1,000,000," And of course, he has that classic line, "Oh, so there's still a chance then, huh?" Yeah. So we have this like weirdo, jaunty ending of the actual episode where after she leaves, he tries to teleport again, and like the music changes to comedy music.
Yep.
And he can't.
He can't.
And it's like,
It sounds like he's constipated. LOL.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder how he dealt with going to the bathroom now.
I'm sure it was a huge, it was a big deal that first time.
If anybody saw him, the soldiers saw him taking a shit.
Shoot. Oh, that's sad.
So, yeah.
Yeah, what do y'all think of Coming Home?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I enjoy it. There's stuff I have issues with because it gets very silly at the end and whatnot. But yeah,
It certainly
fun.
looks good.
It
Looks great.
Yeah.
I like the Ares stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was necessary for the character.
Sure, yeah. And I enjoyed that there was this new ship that I wasn't even aware of.
Evaria.
Yeah, it was definitely... I think, Katie, you were the first one who was like, wasn't this a ship or something like that?
Yeah, what? Yeah, why wouldn't it be a ship?
I don't know, because like certainly when I watched this with you guys, I didn't even like pick up on it.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah,
but probably
but now
in part
it's
because
just
I was
so
just
there.
like, who are all these characters?
Exactly.
Don't even really remember Eve's supposed to be there. When season 6 begins, I'm like, oh yeah, Eve's there.
Well,
We'll see how season 6 feels about
about
that.
Eve being there.
Yeah. So, 1 down, 21 more to go.
One more.
Woo woo.
Welcome to the crew, Melissa Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. I guess we're done with this ep. So you guys can go and follow us on all this stuff and things.
We are on the internet, XenaWarriorPodcast.com. All the links are there to all the things. You can find us on Apple Podcasts where you can subscribe and rate and leave reviews. We are on Twitter at Xena Warrior Pod, and on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast.